on this Christmas Eve. All right, so shout out to the Shade Room. I just saw a headline that really made me, I don't know. I just don't know. I guess with my experience in aviation, there's a lot of things that I know that sometimes the average person may not know. But because I know these things about most carriers, regardless of if they're legacy or if they're low-cost carriers, I just know things just in general about the airports. And most airlines, if they accommodate unaccompanied minors, they will give the parents and or guardians a temporary boarding pass to get the kid through security to the actual gate and thereforth or whatever. So I'm going to read this to y'all. So they said Spirit Airlines apologizes for putting 6-year-old unaccompanied minor on the wrong flight. So many questions here. So many questions. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, Spirit is horrible. Spirit is this. I'm going to tell y'all. When I was flying commercial, when I worked commercial flights, Spirit got me home a lot of the times. And very rarely did I have a really bad experience. Spirit, the colors are tacky, and sometimes they will film the terrible flight attendants, the horrible flight attendants. They get viral all over social media, right? But for the most part, I never really had any major issues with Spirit. And I'll just leave it at that. So it's really like anything in life. It's either the good or the bad. You're going to get one of the two. So when I see this, immediately my antennas go up because I'm just like, number one, most airlines, and I know everybody's got their different rules and things of that nature, but most airlines, if they accommodate unaccompanied minors, they will give the parent or guardian temporary boarding pass, make sure the kid gets through security, they get to the gate, and a responsible parent and or guardian or person, whoever's taking care of these kids, the 6-year-old that's traveling by themselves, will get them to the gate, get them checked in. Them getting onto the wrong flight, that should not happen. Just shouldn't happen. The same as like when they get to their destination, typically, it depends on the company, but sometimes the lead flight attendant will sit with the child until the person that they're supposed to be signed off with comes to the gate. And of course, they're given a temporary pass to get to the gate to sign this child out and hand this child off, the handoff to whatever adult that there is. Some airlines will have them to basically sit with the gate agents until that person comes, regardless. But my main thing is they're so quick to just throw dirt and mud on this airline. But where's the accountability? Where's the responsibility? I do not understand. It doesn't make any sense. There's so many things that doesn't make any sense about this. I personally am not a parent, but I have worked in commercial airlines, and I've never seen someone send a child under the age of maybe 14, 15 on a flight by themselves. And there's just so many things that go into that. Just a responsible person, a responsible adult is typically not going to just leave a child, essentially. Why wouldn't you wait for them to get onto the flight? Make sure that they're at the correct gate. It's not Spirit's fault if the child gets onto the wrong flight. It's your fault. Why weren't you there to check and make sure that the gates were correct? Why weren't you checking to make sure that even if the gates aren't correct, they know where they're going, right? You know what city you're going to. If it says freaking Los Angeles, California, and you know they're supposed to be going to Milwaukee, that probably ain't the gate, right? Gate changes are notorious in I'm telling you, at the airports, gate changes happen just tentatively all the time. All the time. So it burns my biscuits because while Spirit is not necessarily a favorite, they are hard workers. They take care of their planes and they take care of their staff. I know people that are still working for Spirit who love it. They get a lot more perks than the other low-cost carriers. Not going to say any names. Not going to say any names. But how irresponsible are you as the guardian, parent, adult, whatever, that you want to blame this airline for putting the kid on the wrong flight? And then on top of it, typically, and again, this is just putting it out there, most airlines will not put children on connecting flights. So we'll say, okay, well, what if it wasn't the initial flight? What was the connecting flight? Number one, that child should not, at 6 years old, this is not a teenager, this is not a 16-year-old. A 6-year-old child should not be allowed to exit the plane. If it's, they are considered what's considered a through passenger. So say they start off in Atlanta and they stop in Arkansas on their way to Milwaukee. They should not be getting off of that flight. They should be in their seat seated. There are so many rules and regulations and things that go into unaccompanied minors. And I dealt with it a couple of times. There's so many things. They're supposed to be pretty much isolated from the rest of the plane. Especially a child is 6 years old. Like, that is crazy that in 2023, people are still reckless. And this, if anything, the parent, guardian, whoever should be charged. I don't blame Spirit in the least. And it's just ridiculous. We're in some really strange times, y'all. You better stay prayed up because everybody's looking for a payday. Everybody's looking for a reason to sue. Everybody is looking for a reason to sue. This is crazy. Absolutely absurd. I had to speak out against this because it just, like I said, it really just riles me up and gets my blood boiling because they're like, oh my gosh, Spirit is... But also on top of that, with all the press that Spirit has gotten in the last, I don't know how long they've been around. But you would trust your 6-year-old in their hands with everything that's going on. COVID, human trafficking, all the stuff that's going on. You would trust this airline who, doesn't have the best of reputation, but because it was a cheap ticket, and that's what you want to do. So I can't even imagine how frightened this child was. They got on the wrong flight and they ended up in the wrong destination. They were probably so frazzled and scared. Why wasn't this child put on the correct flight by the responsible party? That's my question. And I'm just going to leave it there because this is crazy. This is absolutely madness. I don't even know, y'all. I just don't even know. But I had to just come out here and talk about this because absolutely ridiculous.